Hello wrestling fans, the Wrestling Wizard here and welcome to another video. And in this video we're going to take a look at 5 WWE superstars that could be booked better and are currently being booked poorly. Ones that have potential, maybe not getting utilised to their full potential. Again, these are just my personal picks. Get down in the comment section, what 5 WWE wrestlers would you like to see booked better? But before we get into that, I want to give a huge shout out to loyal subscriber Jordan. This was actually his video idea, and this is something I'm going to do more often. Hit me up in my socials. My Twitter link is in my about section and my email link, and share your video ideas. What I'll do is on a weekly basis, I'm going to pick out the best video idea, share it, and give you a shout out along the way. This is certainly something I want to do moving forward, so I can involve you loyal subscribers a little bit more within the channel. And also it's nice to have some fresh content as well, completely random at times as well, and this is a video I really want to get my teeth into. Now, before we get into the juicy stuff, it'd be very much appreciated if you could like the video, share the video, and even better, subscribe if you're new. So let's get to it. I'm going to start off with my first pick. All of these are completely off the top of my head, and I'm going with Drew McIntyre. Now, to be fair, credit where credit's due. As of late, they've done a better job with the booking of Drew McIntyre. I've loved this slow burn, subtle heel tease from Drew McIntyre. The gist I get is Drew McIntyre as a character at the moment is sick and tired of being an afterthought, of losing. He's also a little bit bitter, well, extremely bitter, about not getting his moment that he deserved in front of fans at WrestleMania. Yes, he beat Brock Lesnar, but it was in front of zero zip zilch people, maybe the odd cameraman, and that was about it. So I like that storyline arc. It's essentially saying I haven't been the same guy since losing to Roman Reigns at Clash at the Castle. So yes, give them credit to this point, to this present day, doing a better job. But WWE massively dropped the ball post Clash at the Castle. I was in that building in Wales at the Principality Stadium. I believe that's what it's called off the top of my head. And the crowd were deafening. The home crowd were massively behind Drew McIntyre. He was literally an equal to Roman Reigns and only lost due to the distraction of Solo Sikoa. He was red hot, top of the game in WWE, and then they dropped the ball. He went into random feuds with Karrion Cross and then dropped down into the mid-card title scene. And yes, he had banger matches along the way. Gunther versus Sheamus versus McIntyre at Mania was fire. It was a great match. But since that moment, Drew McIntyre has been a main event afterthought, and it should never have been like that. Drew McIntyre should have been gunning for Solo Sikoa. It could have been a played out feud in a series of matches where McIntyre gets the one up on Solo Sikoa. So it makes you aware that lurking in the wings, ready to strike at any time, any place, McIntyre hasn't forgot about the undisputed titles. He hasn't forgot about Roman Reigns. He's a complete afterthought in the main event title scene at the moment. And yes, WWE might do a better job as of late. I'm sure they're going to interject him into the World Heavyweight title scene, which still feels like a little bit of a B option, but it's certainly better than how they've been utilising him as of late. He has so much potential. I did honestly think that Drew McIntyre would jump ship to AEW, because I think AEW would actually do a better job in utilising Drew McIntyre as their guy, their main guy, or one of their top guys. At the moment, WWE aren't doing that. But they've got a chance to rewrite the wrongs and book him better moving forward. Hopefully this heel turn that's pending is going to be a much needed freshen up along the way. Now for my second pick, I'm going for Johnny Gargano. His main roster run has been so disappointing. Johnny Gargano killed it in NXT. Johnny Wrestling was literally the man that you could count on when it came to 5-star matches. He could talk on the mic, he had the swagger, he had the it factor. Yes, he's not the biggest guy in the world, and Vince doesn't tend to like big guys. And yes, I appreciate that sounds really wrong out of context, but he has so much star potential. And WWE brought him into the main roster as this comedic goof. That's all I can say. This little bitch that tells on people. The way he was like, I know what's going on with you, Miz, in regards to Dexter Lumis and the Miz paying off Dexter Lumis, which is a really random storyline. Why is he in those sort of storylines? And also, an argument could be made for his wife, Candice LeRae, as well. She's been booked dreadfully. Like, I'm really surprised that WWE haven't utilised Johnny Gargano better, had him put on 5-star clinic matches, and have him interjected into the mid-card title scene. Like, he could have been a challenger for Gunther. And I'm not saying he needs to go over Gunther at all and win and become victorious, but matches between the two of them that you'd look forward to at a PLE, you'd know that Gunther's probably going to win, but it wouldn't take anything away from the fact that Johnny Gargano is this massively over underdog that gets the job done on the big stage. Now, that being said, I am hopeful for the future of Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa. Reform, DIY, put them back together, add some much needed star power into the men's tag team division, and save their main roster careers, because their main roster returns have, safe to say, been very, very disappointing. But I'm hopeful for the future with those two. Get them back together. I want to see DIY back. So that brings me on to my third pick, and I'm going with Karrion Cross. When Karrion Cross re-debuted on the main roster, he beat down Drew McIntyre and stared down the head of the table, the tribal chief, gave him the whole TikTok. And what has happened since then? Now, granted, he beat Drew McIntyre in what was a pretty decent match at Extreme Rules. That strap match was actually pretty good. And yes, he's had some big victories along the way, but he hasn't been utilised to his star potential. Karrion Cross is unique. He's dynamic. He's different to your typical day-to-day WWE wrestler you see on your weekly programming. He really is. And he's got that extra something special that we haven't seen yet. He can talk, he's got the look, he's got the charisma, he's got the stage presence, he's got the girl in Scarlet, of course. That's bringing me back to the Adam Cole promo way back when in NXT. He has something, but WWE just haven't known how to deliver that. And I feel he hasn't had the right rivalry along the way as well. I think there's a few sort of start and stop rivalries he's had to this point. I think he needs a really steady long-term storytelling arc, maybe bringing in his own faction so then he can work opposing other factions and then bring that sort of witchier element, I suppose you could say, to WWE programming. I'm thinking at the top of my head now, the Unholy Union. I kind of like to see them sort of working alongside Cross. But at the same time, is this the direction WWE are going to go in? Probably unlikely. I'm hopeful for Cross. I think if they get it right, they could push him to the moon. He could literally be a mid to upper card superstar. But for now, his return has been underwhelming. And that's not on Cross, that's on WWE Creative. So that brings me on to my fourth pick. And we're turning our attention to the women's division. And I never thought I'd say this name, but Charlotte Flair. Back in the day, Charlotte Flair was a monster heel. She was that despicable heel that you just wanted to boo out the building. She's a natural heel that used to just connect so well with the WWE audience. She was that sort of entitled, arrogant, cocky brat that was fantastic in the ring and had so much charisma and star power. And to this day, she is just an afterthought. Remember when she had that absence from WrestleMania when, of course, she lost to Rhea Ripley until she returned again on SmackDown? I didn't really miss her, if I'm honest, and I never ever thought I'd say that about Charlotte Flair. Why is she going out and helping Asuka? Like, why would Charlotte Flair, the character Charlotte Flair, do that, even in a babyface role, which I never can get behind? I can never get behind a babyface Charlotte, and the fans can't either. It's like she's this tweener. It all depends who she goes up against. But why is she helping Asuka? What has Asuka done to help Charlotte? Like, I don't get it. And I don't think WWE know what to do with Charlotte. They're on sort of thin ice with her. If they have her back into the main event title scene and she wins and gets another run at the top of the mountain, WWE fans will be sick of it. So inevitably they have to turn her heel. And if they keep her away from the main event scene, it just doesn't feel right with Charlotte Flair in this babyface role. I think she needs a meaty feud with someone from the NXT roster. Now, I'm not saying she does a Becky Lynch and goes to NXT, but I certainly feel like she needs an up-and-coming star to work off, to put her in that natural heel role, to get over a babyface up-and-coming superstar. At the moment, I just feel Charlotte Flair is like an afterthought in the women's division. You never thought you'd ever say that. Just can't get into her. And of course that brings me on to my 5th pick, which could go on to numerous picks. But I'm going with Bayley, and you might think, what on earth? She's the leader of Damage Control. She's getting a lot of TV time. Yes, but she's lost a lot along the way. She seems to just lose left, right and centre when it comes to her time at the moment in WWE. And this is Bayley, someone that was literally top of the mountain in WWE throughout the pandemic era, similar to Drew McIntyre. She killed it in her initial heel role, and now it just feels so underwhelming the way she's been booked. Bayley should be right up there at the top of the mountain in the conversation with the top superstars. And in Damage Control, to be honest, you're more behind Io Sky and Dakota Kai. Especially Io Sky. She is the star in Damage Control. Bayley is literally, again, just feels like an afterthought. And when you think about it, the remaining 4 Horsewomen members in, of course, Bayley, Becky and Charlotte aren't really living up to their star power potential at the moment. Becky going into NXT, great, but it's certainly a fall from grace from where she's been in the past, literally main eventing WrestleMania alongside Charlotte and Ronda Rousey. And I certainly feel that the women's division in general is a little bit lost. You've got superstars like Nikki Cross and Tegan Nox not even getting on WWE TV. Like, what is going on? I think the women's division is definitely something that WWE in general need to address. You don't want superstars like Charlotte and Bayley becoming like afterthoughts. Like, you really don't. But at the same time, they need to mix with younger talent, up and coming talent, in a way that obviously keeps them still strong. I just feel if you had Bayley in a title match in a PLE, you'd know she's going to lose. And that should never be that way. Maybe Bayley takes the title off Io Sky and I'm completely wrong down the line. But at the same time, we need to see more serious booking from top of the game WWE women's superstars of past. Like, you need to. But what do you think? What are your thoughts and opinions? What are your 5 picks? Again, I've gone slightly over. I always do, but I kind of stuck to 5, didn't I, in the end? But again, these were just completely off the top of my head. And as always, it'd be really much appreciated if you could like the video, share the video, and even better, subscribe if you're new. We'll catch you in the next one.